to act when defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
People deluded, I'm back again. Quick one, appreciative of all of you lot tuned in. Please make sure you're turning on your notifications, you're smashing the like button, you're commenting, and you're doing the rest of it and boosting the YouTube algorithm. Now, we know we're playing Manchester City in a couple of hours, which, you know, has plenty of talking points. We're going to have to do it without Thomas Partey. I'm sure you've all seen rumors on social media that Thomas Partey didn't arrive with the players and all of these sort of things. David Ornstein has actually confirmed that while his injury isn't as serious as suspected, he is missing the Manchester City game. Now, on one hand, in fact, let's just go into the article before I start rambling, offering my own opinions, folks. So let me share my screen with you lot. Please let me know your thoughts. Again, Thomas Partey expected to miss Arsenal versus Manchester City through injury. We hope it's a lie. We hope miraculously he's there lining up with Granit Xhaka in our 11. But Thomas Partey is expected to miss tonight's Premier League match against Manchester City with a muscular injury. To be fair, he's been an ever-present member of our side and been fit, been able to play and show his consistency. Tonight he won't, though. The Ghana international trained with teammates on Tuesday and when it was expected to start the top of the table clash at the Emirates Stadium, but a late injury setback is set to see him miss out. Although the injury is not thought to be serious, it's nonetheless a significant blow to Arsenal ahead of a hugely important game. So if Thomas Partey can't play for injury, that tells me it's a bit serious. Obviously, we've got Villa away. Obviously, our last 3 games in all competitions, our last 2 in the Premier League, excluding what does or doesn't happen against Manchester City today, it doesn't leave you with any happiness there, people. But we're going to have to get on with it. I don't really have sympathy. I have sympathy for the fans. I have sympathy to a degree for Arteta. I don't have sympathy really for the club because obviously it's a bitter pill to swallow having no Thomas Partey and no El Nene. And it does leave you, we'll get onto it, but what are the other options? But injuries are not unique to Arsenal. Anytime these injuries can happen. And obviously in terms of results, it hasn't quite been our way. Injuries have been a thing. That was the whole reason of trying to get Douglas Luiz in the summer. That was the whole reason with our failed pursuit of Moses Caicedo. I think in the last 2 games on the pitch against Brentford, you probably wanted a more of an 8 that could cut their defense open. Against Everton, when Partey came off like at Old Trafford in September, we went down the toilet really and we lacked physicality. We're just going to have to get on with it. When we beat Chelsea away from home, Man United at home last season and West Ham back-to-back, we didn't have our strongest team. Obviously, our task is made 10 times tougher, but we're going to have to get on with it. As it says here, Partey has been one of Arsenal's most important and consistent players this season, starting 18 of their 21 games so far. He joins a lengthy injury list with fellow midfielder Mohamed El Nene already sidelined and not expected to play any part of the season, alongside Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, Gabby Jesus. As we know, Sambi Lokonga's gone out on loan, people. Jorginho is there. So we're going to have to get on with it, really. We're going to have to get on with it. We've lost that seatbelt that Thomas Partey gives us. That's probably affected how Zinchenko, Odegaard, Granit Xhaka, actually Benjamin White and Saka indirectly can play. We're going to have to get on with it. When we sat there in September, or better, the end of August, September, we had to know that this squad is quote-unquote good enough or able to cope. There's no El Nene, there's no Partey. We've brought in Jorginho. I don't know if we'll chop and change and play Zinchenko in midfield in place of Thomas Partey, go him and Granit Xhaka, and get Tomiyasu or Kieran Tierney at left back and get some added defensive stability there. I don't know if it's just a Jorginho. This is why we brought him in January. And Jorginho plays in the 6, plays completely different to Thomas Partey, but we're going to need him in it. So it is what it is. I'm happy I'm not Mikel Arteta, but it's a further headache and a bitter pill to swallow for Arsenal fans and does make our task harder. We're just going to have to get on with it. Hopefully it really isn't as worse as expected. And after this game, he's there to be able to play Aston Villa, Leicester away from home and any other games. Again, midfield has been our Achilles heel. Not having adequate cover has probably been our Achilles heel. We're going to have to get on with it. And it does leave you concerned, people, because do you go with Zinchenko? Do you go with Zinchenko in the middle? Do you actually just go play a flat midfield three of Zinchenko and Granit Xhaka. I know many people will say, oh, it's two left footers. When it's two right footers, there's no issues there. Do you go Xhaka and Zinchenko? I'm all for that because Zinchenko can play as a midfielder. You know, there's no El Nene. Obviously, you'd have Odegaard in there as well. Let's just put him in there because he makes it a bit better, you know. And then obviously, excluding other players, do you go with Tomiyasu because he would give us a lot more defensive stability? Or do you go with Kieran Tierney out there? Do you go with, you know, for instance, Jorginho in there as well, which I feel is the like for like one without unbalancing too much? You know, I do think that's what we'll probably see. Remove Tomiyasu, obviously put Zinchenko back at left back for the purpose of this example. Put Jorginho over here. I mean, Jorginho should be the easy one in terms of not messing up the balance, and I don't think Arteta will do that. That's why I'm not sure if Trossard will start. Him or Martinelli have my blessing. I don't think the calls some fans have been saying of Trossard through the middle, Martinelli through the middle, potentially Zinchenko in midfield, I'm not too sure, but we're going to have to be 10 times better. I mean, Jorginho's kind of a like for Partey, beyond the obvious differences, especially in terms of our build-up play. He will occupy the 6, but defending isn't a strong part of Jorginho's game. He's more of a cultural number 6 than an industrial number 6 like Thomas Partey, and he can be steamrolled. I'm not trying to get him. Every player's got their weaknesses, so I'm not too sure what he will do if Mikel Arteta will change the system. Personally, I'd prefer to see Zinchenko in there. He gets around a bit more. He'll have that added bit because he's playing City. Obviously, that gives us the luxury of either Tomiyasu or Tierney at left back. Tomiyasu can play, you know, can man mark Mahrez out the game, and obviously he gives us a lot in the air. So when they try and cut us open on the transition, there's that. Obviously, Kieran Tierney might not give you too much down the left-hand side, but he does work better, in my opinion, than with Martinelli as opposed to Zinchenko and Martinelli. I'm not too sure. I personally think you will see that, people. I think that's what you do, but it does leave you wondering because as Odegaard does drop, but as Odegaard goes to press, Xhaka operates further forwards. Zinchenko will get on it and be narrow. Obviously, Jorginho, exaggerating a bit, will be the lone 6. It's not really the safety net, the seatbelt you want to see, but every player that goes out there has my faith. We're going to have to get on with it. You know, obviously, it's always the players that are not involved. Should we not get a result today, we might sit here and go, if we had Jesus, if we had Partey, if we had this, if we had that, it might be different. But injuries happen. Injuries can strike at any time. While we've got a lengthy injury list, we have been dealt a fair hand with injuries this season, and we knew it was going to happen at some point. Obviously, in true Arsenal fashion, it's happened right now, especially where our form in the league's taking a blip and we're playing Manchester City. But, you know, in a nice way, I hope Jorginho ends up being man of the match. You know, there's opportunities now with, you know, if you was to look at Arsenal's starting 11, not that I feel anyone necessarily needs to be dropped just because they've had a shaky 2 games, but you could make out Granit Xhaka could come out of the team on another day for either Jorginho if Partey was fit or Zinchenko. Some people might be saying, you know what, Benjamin White for Tomiyasu or Tierney at left back in place of Zinchenko, Martinelli or Trossard. Jorginho, again, no, Partey in a nice way, he's back for Aston Villa. But if Jorginho plays to a certain standard, Partey might have to hold bench or whatever, because now you're seeing spots up for grabs and it's been difficult for the peripheral players to really start significantly for this football club. So we're going to have to get on with it. I don't really have sympathy. I have sympathy for myself and the fans. I don't really have sympathy for Edu, Mikel Arteta, or any consequence of these injuries, because we've seen this script play out. We know on the best of days we've improved our depth, but we don't have the best of depth. And we know midfield needs addressing with different options, really and truly. So we signed up for this in August, or what we did or didn't do in August, or what we did or didn't do in August/September/January. So we're going to have to get on with it. As much as I would love Partey, and small hope that this injury is a little white lie put out to the press and the Arsenal has done them, we're going to have to get on with it. And the players that are involved are going to have to go out there and do a job. No excuses, no excuses. Go out there and do a job, really. Again, injuries are not isolated to Arsenal. Just get on with it, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, Thomas Partey is set to miss out, people. On that note, please make sure you're here for the watch along Arsenal versus Manchester City. I'm live from 6:30, folks. I'm sure throughout the course of this video, you've seen some things pop up. They're not just for show. Make sure you hit the like button on the video and make sure you set your reminders on the next one. I hope you're doing well and safe. I hope you're all in good spirits. I hope you're all having a progressive week. Long may that continue. Appreciative of all your consistent support for those of you that are here all the time, and appreciate you lot for listening to my 5 pence on this. But on that note, people, I'll see you lot all for the watch along. If I don't, I'll see you when I see you. God bless you all. Stay blessed. Take care. I'm out.
Always that active and defending.